I have always been a huge fan of old YouTube videos from the era before YouTube became a respected career path and was really just random people uploading videos from their bedroom and sometimes going viral. I think there's something really special and human about seeing these real people just make something for fun and have it be celebrated across the entire internet. But for a long time, YouTube was not about that anymore. It became a business, it became much more corporatized, and YouTube developed their algorithm for promoting only the biggest and best videos that were gonna get people to click and watch for as long as possible. And obviously that makes sense from YouTube's perspective to promote the content that people were spending the most time engaging with. But I feel like there's always been a disconnect between the content that's most engagement worthy and the content that's actually enjoyed the most. And yet for a long time that's just what YouTube was. It was high energy, overstimulating, clickable content with giant faces in the thumbnail because that's what people would click on, that's what people would watch, that's what made YouTube the most money at the time. And all that wholesome Wild West era of YouTube where it was just anyone posting, anyone could go viral at any moment, doing things like making a dumb comedy sketch with their friends or just talking to the camera about their life. That's not the type of stuff that went viral anymore. But recently I've noticed a shift in the types of content that YouTube's recommending to me and lots of other people. And I know that I'm not the only one that's noticed this because this video is actually inspired by a couple other videos I watched recently. One by Bonby where he talks about Mr. Beast and him coming out and saying that he's putting an end to the overstimulating era on YouTube. He's slowing down the pace of his videos a little bit more, and his engagement has actually gone up since doing that. And then a video by the Minecraft YouTuber Fizzy Banger, which I never was really into Minecraft content, despite appearances, but I've stumbled across this video, and I realized that this is not a phenomenon that's just specific to me or very specific communities on YouTube. Even within the Minecraft community, there is a push to go back to the old way of doing things on YouTube. And not only are the creators pushing that, but the algorithms recommending it, and the viewers are connecting with it more than ever. But these two videos stood out to me because despite being about very different types of content, they're both speaking to this same general trend that I've noticed in just about everything on YouTube. That things are slowing down, becoming more real, more authentic, and YouTube's actually sharing those videos now. I mean, I think it's wild that Mr. Beast of all people, probably the face of overstimulating content on YouTube, that's the guy that is now saying, I'm not making overstimulating videos anymore. I'm slowing down, and I want all other YouTubers to slow down. I honestly clicked on that video about Mr. Beast and the end of overstimulation because I thought it was a joke. I thought he was saying something along the lines of, I don't make overstimulating content, only to be proven completely wrong. But no. This is him making an effort to take that aspect of his content and lessen it a bit, focus more on storytelling and building characters and actually letting people see the impact of what's going on to them as human beings. And that's honestly a really cool idea that I'm surprised someone like Mr. Beast would be willing to take that leap after all the success he's had. But he's doing it apparently, and it's working for him. I mean, that's not to say that Mr. Beast should now be looked at as the understimulating YouTuber who's making a push to save YouTube and authenticity. His videos are still pretty loud and in your face and pretty fast paced, even if they're slower than they used to be. But I was really interested to see that coming from the man at the very top of YouTube, there is a collective push to make things a little more slowed down and real. And I kind of wanted to look a little bit deeper into why this change is happening and why right now. Like, is this an algorithmic change that was very intentional by somebody at YouTube? Or was this the community of people watching YouTube videos getting fatigued from so much overstimulation on the internet that these videos just naturally began to do better and better? Is this maybe the first example of having the community rally around types of content that are typically less engaging and having that actually impact YouTube as an algorithm and as a platform? I mean, obviously there's been tons of talk about the YouTube algorithm and the ways in which that recommends content and entertainment to us, and even more so in recent year with AI generated stuff and all the concerns that that brings with it. There's a lot of scary implications about algorithms and AI determining what creativity and art is and what we're gonna see till the end of time. But I've always had some kind of hope that as real people, we can make a larger impact on what type of stuff actually succeeds and does well, even on the internet when it's run by machines. And this is honestly the first time in decades it's felt like the people are making more of an impact on this sort of YouTube trend than the algorithm is. I think people are finally starting to become fatigued from the overstimulating era on the internet. I mean, don't get me wrong, that stuff still does very well and is always going to be around online, I think. But I feel like it's found more of a home on TikTok and the YouTube Shorts page, and that's sort of pushed YouTube, willingly or unwillingly, into being the old man platform, the type of platform that features more and more long-form, slow-paced content, something that feels like you can take something of a break from the bombardment of in-your-face, bang-bang entertainment and just sit back and listen to a real person talk for a while. YouTube has actually started to embrace being the old-school internet platform, and I honestly think that's the best thing for YouTube's sake. YouTube is now in that position that YouTube and streaming services once put cable TV in when they effectively killed it off, because the youngest generation is no longer going to YouTube for its entertainment. But rather than being killed off completely and just becoming a lesser version of TikTok, even though they did already kind of try that with the YouTube Shorts feed, now the creators and the platform are pivoting back to what made YouTube special in the first place. The exact same thing that allowed YouTube to compete with and in some ways take over traditional TV is exactly what's keeping it alive now as TikTok has started to take over. And that is the authenticity of it. Like, that ability to just hear real people talk for a while. That is ironically what both TV and TikTok are missing. Whether it's through TikTok's fast-paced, in-your-face content that doesn't allow any opportunity for people to just sit back and talk for a while, or whether it's TV's big-budget scripted productions that inevitably are going to lose some level of authenticity as they go through dozens upon dozens of writers and directors and actors. YouTube is capitalizing off the thing that allowed it to thrive in 2008, and now it's thriving again with real, unscripted, authentic content. And I mean, that's not to say that both these other platforms are worse or invalid because of that. I mean, YouTube ended up having the exact same problems as both these other platforms, like in the early 2010s when they shifted towards doing these bigger budget scripted productions so that they could be more like TV. And then in the later 2010s when TikTok came along and all these YouTubers began doing faster and faster, more clickable short form content, they ended up adopting the problems of their competitors. And I think finally now they've started to recapture their own identity, go back to what made YouTube interesting and unique and special in the first place. And it's the reason that YouTube's still popping off today, even with all these other competitors that are supposedly drowning them out.
Green eyes look over your shoulder.
But more importantly, honestly, than just the bigger YouTubers making an effort to slow things down a little bit more, I think the bigger, more meaningful impact that this sort of cultural shift on YouTube is starting to have is bringing up some of those smaller creators that have always been making that real content, and now they're finally getting recognition for it. And personally, I've seen this happen in a number of different ways recently. I mean, that Minecraft YouTuber making videos just talking over gameplay for one. But personally, what's been showing up a lot in my recommended feed recently are acoustic guitar and ukulele covers. That's not something I ever really sought out on YouTube, ever. And it's not something I saw in my homepage for years upon years. But for whatever reason, over the past few months, I keep seeing these videos, and I decided to start clicking on a couple. These are small creators just covering songs or posting originals to their audiences of a few hundred or a few thousand subscribers. And it's become basically my nightly routine, is finding these real, unedited, just simple little guitar covers like you used to see get big on YouTube in 2010. I mean, I remember there were people like Justin Bieber and whatever, people that would get famous off of their YouTube guitar covers. And I feel like I haven't heard any stories about that in the last many years. Probably because of just the shift on YouTube that's gone towards bigger budget, overstimulating content. And nobody's really been watching these covers anymore. But now they are. Now they're showing up in people's recommended feeds. And if you look at the comments on these videos, people resonate with this stuff really deeply and are really happy to find such a small but talented creator just showing up on YouTube. That feels like such a rarity over the last few years, is to find someone that small and really connect with their content. But on nearly a nightly basis over these last few months, I keep finding more and more covers, more original songs. I feel like I found the best original song I've ever heard posted to YouTube by someone with 600 subscribers. And it's amazing. I just think it's really nice to see these little homemade YouTube music videos that almost always start with the person turning on the camera and they end with them turning off the camera. These are unpolished, unedited, unscripted videos. You can hear the lightning in the background sometimes, or a fire truck go by. And that's okay. I think it enhances the song, honestly, to hear these little imperfections with it. It feels like I'm more authentically and personally connecting with the creators when that happens. And I'm really happy this stuff is starting to show up again. And on a more personal basis, the last video I posted, titled, "I Can Never Replace the Small Things," I was convinced that would flop. I thought no one was going to watch this. I posted a 42-minute long video of me rambling on my roof. It's slow-paced, and it's real, but it's less editing, less exciting content than I've been making before. And I thought nobody would care. And now that video's got over 2,000 views. It's one of my biggest videos ever already. And the comments are people who really have resonated with it and appreciated it. So I thank you, all of you that watched that video. And I'm happy to see that when I pushed myself to take this next step and make something that was a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more old school YouTube, without feeling the need to spice it up as much with exciting, fast-paced editing and silly jokes and whatnot, it's probably the most authentic thing that I've made on a channel where I've always strived to be authentic. And it's really nice to see that people connected with that too. So for myself, for the guitarists on YouTube, for the Minecraft YouTubers, and even for Mr. Beast, it looks like slowing things down and being more real with your audience is not just something that people are saying, oh, I always want to be honest. It's not just that anymore. It's people actually connecting with and finding that content more, and YouTube beginning to recommend it more, to the point where YouTube as a site is changing. And changing for the better. It's becoming more of what it used to be, what made it special in the first place. And that's really exciting for me, as someone that loves those videos and loves to make those videos. I'm just happy that we're starting to take steps towards making YouTube more of that old school authentic platform again. I think YouTube really lost its identity for a long time there, and I had honestly completely given up hope that we would ever go back to the old YouTube, where something as simple as a person playing acoustic guitar could end up on your homepage. And that's why I find it really encouraging that that's starting to happen again. Whether this was ever a conscious decision by somebody at YouTube, or just the cultural trends of getting tired of the overstimulating content and trying to return to our roots in a way. I don't know how it happened, but it feels like YouTube's finally found itself again. And I'm really happy to be here for that now.